Hi, my name is Daniel Lemberger, as most of you know, and I'm the managing partner of Dror Center in Haifa, Israel, and I'm the main author of the Life Power Library. What I've been doing almost all my life, is delivering, working with, promoting the applied spiritual philosophy developed by the great American philosopher Ron Hubbard. I consider Ron Hubbard the greatest man that ever lived. He developed a technology, a philosophy, an applied philosophy, that's why it's also called a technology, that makes it possible for every person to attain higher awareness and free themselves of past traumas that burden us. And when we apply Hubbard's technology, we not only become more able, more aware, more happy, but we gain our awareness of being immortal, spiritual entities. It takes time, it takes patience, but the rewards are enormous. People who go this route, and it is a long route, but people who follow this route achieve great satisfaction and a new sense of livingness, a new sense of purpose in life, and knowing that they are more able, more free, and more aware, and with much, much greater understanding of life. So I've been doing this since 1980. It used to be, my activity used to be part of an organization called the Church of Scientology. We left that organization a long time ago, 13 years ago. It was corrupt. It had devolved into a cult taken over by a group of evil people, and they're destroying Ron Hubbard's legacy. So we parted ways, and we've been doing it, my partners and I, independently and successfully and with great satisfaction. And at some point, I realized that I have to do more and initiate more and create more, because we cannot forever rely just on the work of Ron Hubbard. And here's what Ron Hubbard himself says. This is Ron's book, the Book of Case Remedies. And there is a bulletin, an article he wrote, dated March 1965, and allow me to read an excerpt from the book. Ron says, Book of Case Remedies, Application of Tech. A sure road to award and glory is to find a new application for an existing Scientology process or principle or book. The period of the discovery of principles, processes, or original works is surely over, as we have everything by way of natural laws. Inventing and using new processes is a sure way to slow down the advance. There are only so many anyway, and it's been done. So this is Ron 1965. He's saying that there's so many anyway, and it's been done. Well, he corrected himself later, because after 1965, Ron Hubbard continued to develop many, many new processes. He made major breakthroughs. He developed a lot of new technology, a lot of new processes, a lot of much more advanced levels. So I won't go into all the levels that he developed after 65, but there's a lot. So he did continue to develop many, many more levels. But the emphasis is that Ron Hubbard, he's the source of this philosophy. He made the discoveries. He recorded these great advances for mankind. And what our goal, what our job is, to facilitate others to find out about this, to avail themselves to this, and not to alter or change the original works of Ron Hubbard. And he continues and says in this bulletin of March 65, but new ways to apply or disseminate what we've got are welcome, welcome, welcome. We've not nearly enough of those, and we'll be inventing or seeing them for the next umpty trillion years. Umpty trillion is a lot of time, and he says we'll be inventing or seeing them for the next umpty trillion years. What's them? New ways to apply or disseminate what we've got are welcome, welcome, welcome. So Ron is saying here very clearly that it's our task for many, many, many more years to come to do marketing, dissemination, application, delivery of his basic works, of his discoveries. And it's up to us to make it available to mankind. And as technology evolves, as the planet changes, as we have new means, new things that Ron could not think of, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, internet, he had no idea of these things. We develop many more marketing tools, but we don't change the basic technology. And I realized about 7 years ago that we as a group, Dror Center, we have gained a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge working with Hubbard's philosophy. We have many successful actions. We have gotten hundreds of people up the bridge. I personally gave hundreds of hours of lectures and interviews and briefings to people, explaining to them about Ron's bridge and what is the state of clear and what does it mean OT, operating Satan, an operating spiritual entity free of encumbrances, free of the burden of past millions of years of traumas and miscalculations and errors. You free yourself of all this and you reach new heights, as I said, of ability and awareness. So I realized a few years ago that I have to do a job of recording the knowledge and the experience that I had gained. Furthermore, the original books of Ron Hubbard, mainly the book Dynetics, The Modern Science of Mental Health, is a book that nowadays most readers have a hard time reading it. And I think very few people can apply auditing the technology as delineated in the book Dynetics. So it must be simplified. It has to be brought to today's audience in a way that people can understand, grasp, drill it, work with it, and get results from it. Furthermore, after Ron Hubbard wrote the book Dynetics, and in the subsequent years he wrote many more books, he then for years gave lectures and wrote thousands of articles called bulletins, policy letters, further developing the technology. But it is not all organized, put together in a way that is easy to study and to apply. And so I embarked. First, I thought it was going to be a small, minor undertaking, a little booklet, just making it easier to understand and to study the Dynetics procedures, as in the book Dynetics. But when I started writing that little booklet, it became a bigger and bigger and bigger book because more and more chapters, more and more subjects were necessary for it. And so finally, I came out with this book, and I realized I need to give it a name because the name Scientology, the name Dynetics is in use by another organization. We don't want to be associated with this organization. We don't want to be confused with them. They've been taken over, like I said, by evil people. We want no contact with them. We have to be totally differentiated, separate from them. And so I had to come up with a new brand name, and I coined the name Life Power, first for the book and then for the library. So we now have 8 books in the Life Power library, and we have one book, the first book, which is also called Life Power. After this one, people said to me, Danny, what about communication? What about TRs, the drills that Ron Hubbard developed to train auditors? practitioners to be successful in counseling others. And he discovered a lot of data about the ARC triangle: affinity, reality, communication. He discovered the communication formula, and he developed 8 drills which make every person a perfect communicator, and every person who does it has huge wins, huge changes in their lives. So I wrote the complete communication manual that teaches and makes it possible to learn and to drill exactly Ron Hubbard's communication drills. Then Hubbard developed study technology, so people can easily overcome barriers to study. They can study not only his philosophy, but any subject. So that was a major breakthrough, not for us, but for mankind, because any person who studies Ron Hubbard's study technology becomes a better student and a better teacher for his children, for his co-workers, for people he's teaching. So there's Hubbard's study technology, which I summarized in Study Essentials, and we have courses that teach every one of the books. Then a final, smaller book, Story of CNI, deals with the subjects of control and intention. Hubbard's, it's called Upper Indoc TRs 69, which raise significantly a person's ability to make decisions, to reach out, and to get results based on his intention. So these books are working wonders. They've been translated into several languages. We have our big center in Haifa, Israel. Our partner, a dear man, Don Shaul, runs Clearing Center in Tel Aviv. It's even surpassed Dror Center Haifa. It's bigger than we are. He has hundreds of people doing courses, all based on the Life Power books. And we have now a big center in Europe, in Riga, Latvia. My very close friend and partner, Kaspars Zwegelis, opened it, translated the books to Latvian. Our friends, partners from Haifa, Dima Dubinin and Yulia Filchenko, they moved to Riga, Latvia about a year ago already, and to support Kaspar's efforts. And we have a big, booming center now there in Riga. People from all over Europe, and some even from outside of Europe, come either to Riga or to Haifa to continue their progress on the route to spiritual freedom. We have this booklet which delineates all the steps of progress on Hubbard's bridge. Here you see, of course, a photo of Hubbard, quotes of Hubbard, and his explanation. For the chart starts with the Life Power books, and it then gives you all the courses, all the training that you do, becoming a professional auditor, person delivering, a practitioner of the philosophy and its technology, and then all the steps up to clear, state of clear, and all the steps more advanced here. We call these the OT levels, operating Satan or operating spirit, from clear to very advanced levels of spiritual attainment. So what is new is that just a couple of weeks ago, I finished, together with my friend, buddy, partner, Dima Dubinin, we finished putting together the latest and greatest addition to the Life Power Library. It's the book that teaches you how to use the e-meter. And it's called the E-Meter Operator's Handbook. So just a few words. What is an e-meter? The e-meter is a device actually originally discovered, developed by an American physicist, scientist, expert on radio, who also dealt with spirituality and hypnosis. This guy, his name was Volney Matheson. Here's a picture, a photo of Volney Matheson working with his device. He called it electropsychometer, and his subject he called electropsychometry. And he developed it already in 1947. He was a radio technician in the Second World War, and he developed electronics, and he was interested in the mind, in the spirit, and he discovered that with a fine electric current, you can moderate or you can monitor and discover changes in one's mental state. But he didn't know much what to do with this device. He tried to connect it, work with it with hypnosis. Of course, it didn't work. And then in 1950, Volney Matheson heard about this guy, Ron Hubbard, who just released the book Dianetics. And he said, wow, this is it. This is the connection. This is the knowledge that I was looking for, actually. They met, Volney and Ron, they met, they became friends. And Volney said to Hubbard, okay, you have my device. It can help you in what you're doing. And Ron Hubbard took this, developed it further. And here we have a photo of Ron Hubbard much later in the 60s working on e-meters. So we now have Ron Hubbard's e-meters. Let me show you my first e-meter. So I proudly show you here my first e-meter. If you look at this little thing here, has a little tab here. This one was purchased in 1980 in San Francisco, which is where Tammy and I started studying the subject. And this is called Hubbard electrometer. It's a Mark V. It says American Mark V because in England they had something similar, a bit different. So this is the Mark V called the Workhorse. It's in a wooden box, and it has all these little levers and boxes and knobs to regulate it and to work with it. And I worked many years auditing myself, auditing others with this e-meter. It's a great job. Later, there were many, many more models of the e-meter. I won't show you all, but we show them in the book. And what the e-meter does is it passes a very mild current through the body. And in auditing, when the auditor asks you a question about some past event, because this is what we deal with in auditing, we deal in the past because the past weighs on us and encumbers us and burdens us. And the past, or the unpleasant incidents of the past, make our present and future less fun. And we have unwanted, undesired situations in life. And when you view them and talk to somebody about this, and you become aware of exactly what happened, and what decisions you made, what mistakes you made, what happened to you in the past, you can erase the effects of past traumas. And these traumas have actually electrical mass, charge. And this is what the e-meter picks up, the charge of past traumas being reactivated in present time. So the auditor navigates and locates the traumas that burden a person. You could say that the e-meter is like when you go on the trip, you take a compass. When you want to travel uncharted land, a place you've never been, you take a compass with you and you know how to navigate. I was an officer in the Israeli army, and I used compasses when taking long hikes in the Israeli desert, and you have to find your way, and you have the stars, and you have a compass, and you have a map, and you navigate with that. So the e-meter is like a compass in the hands of a skilled auditor. And when a person studies life power, they become a life power coach. So first, I would recommend doing the effective communication course. Then one does the brilliant student course based on study essentials. Then I would top it off with honing your ability to intend and control the environment on this course, intention control course. And then, having done those three, you go on the big one, which is the first book written, but the big course, Life Power Coach course, and you learn to be a counselor or a listener or a practitioner or a coach, or we call it auditor, one who listens. The auditor is one who listens. And as an auditor, you help another person incredibly improve their lives. And people are thankful to you. When you work just as a life power coach with this book, you are a book auditor. You have not yet learned how to use the e-meter. Still, the technology, the techniques given in this book are immensely powerful because people who do this have great wins, have great changes in their lives. Once you're a life power coach and you want to be a professional and you want to be able to do many more things for your clients and for the PC, the pre-clear is the person receiving auditing. He is striving for the state of clear. A clear is a person who no longer has a reactive mind, so he's wiped out, erased his traumas. If you want to bring a person to the state of clear, you must start working with an e-meter because you save hundreds and thousands of hours. The e-meter makes it possible to pinpoint, to focus quickly, directly on the charged areas of a person's life, because the meter needle moves on items, subjects that have charge. Okay, so this is the book. This is a new book, the E-meter Operator's Handbook. And for ease of use, to make it easier to learn, to study, to guide more freely through the book, we have the section, A Brief History of the E-meter, where I talk a little bit about Volney Matheson and Ron Hubbard, their development. But then we have in the book 3 sections. And section A, the mind and the e-meter. So how is our mind constructed? Well, what is life? The 3 components of a living person is, first of all, the spirit. We also use the Greek word for it, thetan, the mind, which is the storage of information, good and bad. The negative, supposedly negative part of the mind, the reactive mind, acts upon us against our will. So this is what we handle and we erase. And when we get rid of the reactive mind, we have a clear. So a clear person can think clearly, can behave successfully, can attain his goals because he doesn't have the noise, the fears, the bad emotions troubling him coming from the reactive mind. And we have a body, the 3 parts of a person. So the spirit uses information from the mind to activate the body. The body is always in motion. And moving our body, we can attain our goals. Past or other fields think that we think with our brain. That's a mistake. And a great Israeli philosopher said, it is not the brain that thinks, it is the owner of the brain that thinks. So we have that in the first section of the book, how the mind works, all about the charge stemming or embedded in our reactive mind, affecting us all the time, and then how we locate the charge with the e-meter and how the e-meter works. And we have a lot of illustrations, a lot of drawings showing how the e-meter operates. Then section B, called e-meter essentials, all the data one needs to know about the parts of the e-meter, how it works, how to operate it, how to manipulate it, how to set it up, the various models of e-meters, and all the parts of the e-meter. And the main part of the meter is the needle. We have a tone arm action, which shows how much charge has been released in a session of auditing. And we have the needle, which is moving all the time. And the book describes all the major needle reads, what each one of them means, and how you work with it. So all the theory, all the explanations of the e-meter are in section B, e-meter essentials. And that brings us to Section C, working with the e-meter. Ron Hubbard, the great man, it's unbelievable. When he thought of everything, and he gave us everything, and he provided us with everything, and it's all there, and just learn it, understand it, drill it, and do it. Easy. And he developed drills for learning how to operate the e-meter. So you don't have to take this machine and say, oh my God, what is this? You have e-meter drills graduated perfectly on a gradient, laid out, all the steps, all the drills, and you learn how to become an expert e-meter operator. And once you have, well, you read the book, you read the other books, you become first a life power coach without an e-meter. You want to progress, you want to go further, you want to become a professional, and you want to be able to bring people to the state of clear. You grab this book and you take this course in one of several Life Power academies. You study the theory and you drill. You do all these drills a few times through, like when you learn how to operate a computer, or when you're young, when you were 18, you learn, or 16, you learn how to drive a car. So you have to go with somebody. You don't just, well, you shouldn't just steal your dad's car. You need to say, Dad, teach me how to drive. Or you go to a learning school, a driver's school. You learn how to drive, and it can take 20, 30 hours of driving with an instructor, and then you're confident and you drive on your own. Same here. You work with another auditor, another expert. You learn how to use the e-meter, all its capabilities, all its knobs, and what it shows and what it does. You become an expert e-meter operator. Now you're a highly trained, high-level professional auditor. And what do you know? You can take people all the way up to clear. You can now use any of hundreds, maybe thousands of processes, techniques that Hubbard developed. Some of it is amazing, is incredible. A lot of it is incredible. It really is fantastic. I personally have had, I think, already thousands of hours of auditing beginning in 1980. Where are we now? 2025. So 45 years ago of thousands of hours of auditing that I've received. And it was all fun. It was all incredible. It was all terrific. I love it. And I still do. I still continue to do my auditing. Nowadays, I do it solo auditing. We have now a new device. This is a new kind of digital advanced e-meter working Bluetooth technology with a tablet PC or a laptop. So we have new technology, new devices. So I'm very proud of my latest and greatest release together with my friend Dima Dubinin. You're invited to order the book and read it and find out more about this. If you want to study this, you would have to do the other courses first. This is a very advanced course, learning how to use the e-meter. But once you're a Life Power coach, you do the metering course, and you're going to have a lot of fun with it. And the greatest satisfaction, gratitude that a person can have is helping others. So you work with other people, and they will love you, and they will thank you for making their lives better, and you make your life better. Thank you very much for watching this. Write us, call us with any question, and you're invited to all of them. Thank you.